All right, so we are going to move into our next storytelling feature, this time with Rick Callender. So Rick Callender is the Chief Executive Officer for Valley Water. He is the first African American to serve in the role in Valley Water's 90-year history. A longtime advocate for racial equality, Rick announced that he will establish a new unit within Valley Water, the Office of Racial Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. This office will ensure effective diversity and inclusion practices are in place internally and also within the community that Valley Water serves. So Rick, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, the floor is yours.
The floor is mine. So here's what I want folks to do. I want you to imagine this. You're an agency that's responsible for 10 reservoirs. Your largest reservoir that you can fit all 9 reservoirs inside of is completely empty. And it's empty because you have to fix it as the dam may fail in case of a large earthquake. And what you're watching is you're slowly watching a drought creep its way across the state. Well, often when people see the news and they see bad and inclement weather, when you see a hurricane is about to hit your community and the forecast shows that the center of the storm is going to approach this community, and you know it's going to cause devastating damage, you know that it's going to rip apart roofs, it's going to tear down homes. So when you're talking about drought, people can't see that. So when you know a storm's about to hit the community, it's the responsibility of local governments to not wait until the storm hits the community to call for emergency action. It's the responsibility of government to act before the storm can actually cause that devastation. And so a drought, that's just a slow-moving storm. And as CEO, the seat that I sit in, I have the responsibility to make sure that we are looking, that we're making recommendations to ensure that we have an ample supply of water to fight fires, to protect our environment, to protect our groundwater aquifers from subsidence, and to make sure that we can provide a safe, clean supply of drinking water for the residents and businesses of Silicon Valley. But how can you make people see that? How can you make them understand that? When we talk about the groundwater table has been generally been the historical standard that we've used for drought conditions, but we're in an unprecedented year. People can't see the groundwater. So how do you help people to imagine what you're seeing? How do you help people to know that when you're calling for a drought conservation, how do you use a story, just like what I said about the storm? When I'm talking about the hurricane in the center of the eye of the storm, each and every one of you can imagine that, because what I try to do is make sure we always tell through a story. So first, yes, I talked about our dam. We have Anderson Dam. It's our largest in-county reservoir. It's going to be down for the next 10 years. Our imported water supplies, they've been cut drastically. What we've been doing is, I've talked about it, is emergency water purchases. Why are people saying, well, what about our rates? Well, we have emergency water purchases that are risk of being cut or voided. And secondly, we have our second largest reservoir that also may be ordered to be emptied due to seismic concerns that we had to empty Anderson for. So indeed, we are seeing the perfect storm in Silicon Valley building up, and it's growing right in front of us. And so the risk to our water supply, people see it, they see the drought, they see the drought on the news, but then they're saying, well, how do I see that? How do I imagine what that looks like? And how do you tell the story of a drought before it happens? How do you make people see and understand exactly where you are and what you're facing? Well, storytelling, yes, indeed, it's a very powerful tool. I've often used storytelling for advocacy. I've often used it for action. I've often used it to inspire people, because telling a story in the way that people and the legislators can remember has always helped to sear the image of what's really occurring. So in this instance, to get people to serve 15% of their water supply, what did we do? I always say also a picture tells 1,000 words. So I'm going to share with you, recently, we're actually just about to release this today, but it's a way that we're telling the story through pictures. So let me see if I can share this here. And I see Tim, maybe Tim can help me share it if the volume doesn't come through. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. So, like I said, a picture tells 1,000 words. So sometimes when you want to tell a story, you do it in a way that you know is going to be effective. You do it in a way that's going to make sure people can understand it. Because when you talk about the drought, yes, people know there hasn't been rain. Yes, people know that the news is talking about the drought. But when you can show what it means locally, when you can basically inspire people to action by saying, yes, your local reservoirs are empty. Yes, we're trying to protect your groundwater supply. You may not be able to see it, but here is what it looks like. So that's my version of storytelling, and that's my story for you today.
Thank you so much, Rick. That was so interesting. You know, it's true. When you see those visuals, it's really, really impactful. I put that in the chat, and then Jenna immediately said the same thing. So I think it's true. You know, once you can see those types of things, it doesn't matter if you're a visual learner or if you're a data person or if you're a communicator. That was very telling. So thank you for that story.